Welcome today to our children's program. What we're going to do is we're going to have a short time of worship, then I'm going to read from the Gospel Story Bible and do a little explanation of what that story means. And then from there, we'll join the adult worship. Story 106, Lazarus. And this comes from John chapter 11. Lots of people knew about Jesus, but there were a few who became his close friends. A man named Lazarus and his sisters, Mary and Martha, were people Jesus liked to visit. They lived just a few miles from Jerusalem in a town called Bethany. One day, Lazarus got very sick. Mary and Martha sent a message to Jesus, hoping he would come and help. But when Jesus got the message, he did not go to help his friend Lazarus. Instead, he said, "This illness does not lead to death. God is going to use it to show the glory of the Son of God." Jesus could have healed Lazarus without even going to Bethany, but he had a bigger plan. Jesus stayed where he was for 2 more days, and during that time, Lazarus died. Then Jesus said to the disciples, "Lazarus has died, and I need to go wake him. For your sake, I'm glad I was not there, because it will help you to believe in me." As Jesus traveled to Lazarus' home, Martha met him on the road a few miles away. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died," she said. "But I know now that God will give you whatever you ask." "Your brother will rise again," Jesus told her. Martha replied, "Oh, I know he will rise again on the last day." But Jesus had something more in mind. He said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live, and everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die." "Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she said. "I believe you are the Son of God, the Messiah God promised to send into the world." Martha left and brought her sister Mary to Jesus. When Mary saw Jesus, she fell down at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Mary was crying, and soon Jesus was weeping too, as he saw how sad the people were over the death of the friend that he loved. Mary and Martha took Jesus to the cave where Lazarus' body lay. The entrance was closed off with a large stone. "Take the stone away," Jesus said. Martha did not think this was a good idea. "After 4 days, there will be a terrible smell," she warned him. But Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone, and Jesus prayed to his Father in heaven. Then he called out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" Suddenly, out of the tomb came Lazarus. He stood in front of them all, still wrapped in the linen strips he had been buried in. Now everyone's tears were tears of happiness. When Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life," he was telling Martha that he is the one who gives life. When Martha heard those words, she knew just what to say. "I believe." These are the same 2 words that God wants us to say. When Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, it gave us a picture of what Jesus does for anyone who trusts in him. Because of sin, death comes to everyone. But Jesus conquered death and sin when he died on the cross. And just as he raised Lazarus, Jesus himself rose again, winning a battle over death forever for everyone who believes. Today's story is the raising of Lazarus from the dead. Now, when Jesus heard that Lazarus was sick, he didn't go immediately. And he didn't go on purpose, because he knew Lazarus would die and that God would be glorified when Jesus raised Lazarus up out of the grave. So Jesus went to Bethany, and he greeted Mary and Martha, and he asked, "Where have they laid him?" And then he said, "Roll away the stone." And when the stone was rolled away, Jesus called out, "Lazarus, come forth." And Lazarus, in great power, rose again from the dead and came out, still wrapped in the grave clothes. And Jesus said, "Unbind him," which they did. Now, there were a whole crowd of people gathered there. There were the people who were sad that Lazarus had died and were there, you might say, at his funeral. And then there were the people who followed Jesus, the disciples and the others, and some who came to see what Jesus would do. Now, everybody who was there believed that Lazarus was really raised from the dead. Nobody said, "Oh, I don't believe it. There's a trick. There's a passageway in the back of that tomb. He snuck in the back. He was never dead." No, they all believed that Lazarus was dead. And they all believed that Jesus rose him up from the grave. But there were 2 very different responses. First, The friends of Lazarus, those who were trusting in Jesus and wanted to believe, they went on and they held a dinner in Lazarus' honor to celebrate. He had been risen from the dead. It was kind of like his second birthday party. Not like 2 years old, but the second time he came alive. But there was another group of people. They saw what Jesus did. And they were angry. They went to the religious rulers and said, Jesus rose Lazarus up from the grave. And the religious rulers said, if this gets out, if he keeps doing things like this, we'll lose our power. So rather than go to the party, they hatched a plan. A plan where they would ultimately take nails and a hammer and crucify Jesus, killing one man to preserve their power. Now, when we look at this story, we really have a choice. Are we going to side with the religious rulers who rejected Jesus, who didn't put their trust in him, but crucified him? Or will we join the party, the great celebration, that not only will Lazarus rise, but what Jesus said is that if you believe, though you would die, yet shall you rise, and those who believe in me will never die. Do you believe this? Well, the Pharisees clearly rejected that teaching, and so did some of the Jews. But I would ask you, what about you? Will you reject Jesus, or will you join in the resurrection party? Believe and put your trust in him. I hope that you enjoyed our program today, especially the Bible story about Jesus. And now we're going to join the adults for our regular service.